It's two bowls in one, because it's not just a Super Bowl. You all know it's true. It's the Harbaugh Bowl. Jim Harbaugh on one sideline, John Harbaugh on the other, and we're here to talk about it. I'm Tom Vandervoort from the Sporting News Studios, and joining me now from New Orleans, our own Cliff Brown. And Cliff, you're writing about these two guys, and what are some of the common characteristics that have allowed them to oppose each other now come Sunday on opposite sidelines?
Well, the similarities with these two are way more prevalent than the differences. They both took risks this year to get their teams where they were. Obviously, Jim with the decision to start Kaepernick over Alex Smith, and then John firing his offensive coordinator Cam Cameron late in the season, replacing him with Jim Caldwell. Those were two huge gambles that you usually don't see coaches that make it to the Super Bowl make. They did. They're also very fiery guys. Jim probably some more than John, but both emotional coaches, so-called players coaches, in that, you know, they're not afraid to show their emotion. They're not the stone-faced, stoic guy. And I think that both of their teams are reflective of their personalities, and that they're both very tough teams, very disciplined teams that kind of thrive on pressure. So it's really incredible to me that to have two brothers coaching against each other in the Super Bowl, something we've never seen before and may never see again.
Now, you mentioned the intensity, and we were trying to decide here in the studio which one was wrapped more tightly around the axle. We kind of decided it was Jim. What are some of the differences that you see between these two guys?
Well, I think Jim is wrapped tighter. Jim is the youngest. I think John is more the type guy who you would like to go to dinner with if you didn't know either one. He's more personable. John smiles easier. John is the big brother. He tells stories about he didn't pick on Jim, and Jim was such a great athlete that he didn't hang out with kids his age. He hung out with John and all his friends who were older. So John is very much the big brother, I think a little more calm. I'm not going to say more mature, but I think less apt to fly off the handle. Jim, you know, we know about the handshake incident he had with Jim Shorts with the Lions. He shows more emotion on the sidelines, even though John can get fired up as well. And, yeah, I think that, you know, John is the guy who is, I think if they had to have a family spokesman, they would vote for John more so than Jim. But together, I mean, they really are, again, more similar than they are not alike.
Now, given their coaching backgrounds and where they come from to this particular game, do you see a coaching advantage one way or another as they face off?
You know, that's an excellent question. John says that he doesn't believe he has the big brother edge, and I would tend to agree with him. I think it's very close choosing which one of these two guys is a better coach. They've only coached against each other one time. John's team, the Ravens, did win a couple of years ago, that game in Baltimore. If I had to pick one, and you're asking me to, and I hate to always be on the fence or ever be on the fence, I would pick John. I think John's been an NFL coach longer. He's been to the Super Bowl as an assistant coach with the Eagles. I think that John has a really good pulse right now on the Ravens. I think that while the 49ers might be a better team, the Ravens are playing their best football this season now. And so I would give a slight edge to John. I just have a feeling that this is the Ravens' time, and I think that John is a part of the reason why.
Okay, and finally, the most important question of all, you got two parents here, Jack and Jackie. How are they doing the rooting thing? One root for one root for the other. They both root for both. How is that going to work out?
I think it's an extremely difficult situation. They're rooting for both, but I think, you know, they'll have more empathy for the loser. I think the losing coach will need them more after this game. Obviously, for the winner, it'll be the peak of his career. He'll be celebrating. It'll be the losing coach that needs to be comforted. And even though I think the other brother will try and comfort the loser, it's going to sting more coming from that brother because you just lost to him. So I think both the parents are going to be watching or want to spend time with the losing coach to try and soften the blow of what really is going to be an interesting situation. I mean, if I'm John or Jim, I would not want to be coaching a Super Bowl against my brother. John thinks it's great. He thinks that, you know, obviously one of them is going to win. It's great for the family. And he even said, hey, if this was, you know, God's will, then that's the way it's supposed to be. But if it were me, I wouldn't want to be in this situation. And I think the parents are going to look to comfort the losing coach.
Absolutely. All right. Well, one is going to win, one is going to lose. It is going to be interesting. Cliff, thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me, Tom.